Jaya Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribhara Jagacharya Srimad Srimad Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nikai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, of all pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by Srila Prabhupada, Canto 5, The Creative Impetus. Chapter 3, Rishabdev's Appearance. Today's text, we're going to do 6 and 7, they go together, so we'll start with 6. It's prose, so I'm just going to read the prose. Pari Jana Nuraga Virachita Shabala Sang Shabda Salila Sita Kishalaya Tulasika Durvan Kurai Api Samvritaya Saparyaya Kila Parama Paritu Shasi. Word for word. Parijana, by your servants, Anuraga, in great ecstasy, Virachita, executed, Shavala, with a faltering voice, Sangshabda, with prayers, Salila, water, Sita Kishalaya, twigs bearing new leaves, Tulasika, tulsi leaves, Durva Ankurai, and with newly grown grass, Api, also, Samvritaya, performed, Saparyaya, by worship, Kila, indeed, Parama, O Supreme Lord, Paritushasi, you become satisfied. Translation, O Supreme Lord, this is the priests, of King Nabi praying on Nabi's behalf to the Lord. O Supreme Lord, you are full in every respect. You are certainly very satisfied when your devotees offer you prayers with faltering voices, and in ecstasy bring you tulsi leaves, water, twigs bearing new leaves, and newly grown grass. This surely makes you satisfied. Please repeat. O Supreme Lord, you are full in every respect. You are certainly very satisfied. When your devotees offer you prayers with faltering voices, and in ecstasy bring you tulsi leaves, water, twigs bearing new leaves, and newly grown grass. This surely makes you satisfied. Srila Prabhupada's purport, one does not need great wealth, education, or opulence to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one is fully absorbed in love and ecstasy, he need offer only a flower and a little water. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam Yomi Bhaktya Prayachati. Quote, if one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. Gita 9:26. The Supreme Lord can be pleased only by devotional service. Therefore, it is said here that the Lord is surely satisfied by devotion and nothing else. Quoting from the Gautamiya Tantra, the Hari Bhakti Vilas states, Tulasi dalamatrena jalasya chulukena vam vikrinite svamatmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsalaha. Quote, Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate toward his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers merely a tulsi leaf and a palmful of water. Unquote. The Supreme Lord is causelessly merciful upon his devotee, so much so that even the poorest of men can offer him a little water and a flower in devotion and thus please him. This is due to his affectionate dealings with his devotees. Text 7 prose, ataniyapi nabhavata ijjayoru bhara bharyaya samuchitam artam iho palab bhamahe. Word for word, ata, otherwise, anaya, this, api, even, na, not, bhavataha, of your exalted personality, ijjaya, by performance of sacrifice, urubharya bharaya, encumbered by much paraphernalia, samochitam, required, artam, use, iha, here, upalambamahe, excuse me, upalabhamahe, we can see. Translation, we have engaged in your worship with many things and have offered sacrifices unto you, but we think that there is no need for so many arrangements to please your lordship. Please repeat, we have engaged in your worship. With many things. And have offered sacrifices unto you. But we think that there is no need for so many arrangements to please your lordship. Prabhupada's purport, Srila Rupa Goswami says that if one is offered varied foods but has no appetite, the offering has no value. In a big sacrificial ceremony, there may be many things accumulated to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But if there is no devotion, attachment, or love for the Lord, the arrangement is useless. The Lord is complete in himself and he does not need anything from us. However, if we offer him a little water, a flower, and a tulsi leaf, he will accept them. Bhakti, devotional service, is the main way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is not a question of arranging huge sacrifices. The priests were regretful, thinking that they were not on the path of devotional service and that their sacrifice was not pleasing the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master is kindly opening my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So yesterday when Dero gave class, and it appears he might be giving class tomorrow because Devaki is not going to give class. because she's going to speak in the evening, and she says she only speaks once a day. And I can relate to that because when I travel all around with my founder Acharya seminars, I tell the devotees, if today is a founder Acharya seminar day, I ain't giving Bhagavatam class. And that's because I could do that when I was younger, but I got to save my voice, I just can't. My voice is not as strong as it used to be. I can't dance the way I used to dance. Yeah, but not very long. 5 seconds. Yeah, I could jump around the way Kirtaneshwar does the whole time when I was a young man. Not anymore. You'll find out. Meet that. All right. So wanting to ask a benediction on King Nabi's behalf in yesterday's text, which is 4 and 5. The officiating priests offered prayers exclaiming how the Lord and his name, form, and qualities were transcendental beyond their comprehension. So, before we Prabhupada and Krishna picks us up, most of us, is anybody born into the movement here? I don't think. Everybody's coming. We're all come lately, right? So before I came, actually when I was in the 1950s, there was a TV show. Let's see if anybody knows this one. Art Linkletter's House Party. That after everybody's time. You remember that? So it was on from 2:30 to 3. So I would get bussed home from, first it was Willard Elementary, then it was Newfield Elementary, then it was, elementary. And, then it was Burdick Junior High School. And then I would turn on the TV. I would get home just as, because it was shown from 2:30 to 3. So just as, here's how Linkletter would wrap up the show. Does everybody know Art Linkletter? He's like a famous personality, no? Famous radio, TV personality. And so, then here's how he would end the show. He would end the show by going to a bunch of kids. They were like kindergartners. Whoops. They were like kindergartners. They were like, 5 years old. And he would ask them questions. And he would turn the best of their answers into a book. Anybody know the book? Kids Say the Darndest Things. Remember that book? Yeah. Okay. So I remember I just remember one day, because Art Linkletter asked the kids, 5-year-olds, what is God, or how big is God? How big is God? And so, what is God like? That is right. What is God like? And so this was before 1960, so it was before that movie, The 10 Commandments, came out with Charlton Heston playing Moses. But maybe some of them had read, the 10 Commandments in the Bible. It's in the Bible. So one kid said, God is very strict. Because it's all about thou shalt not, right? Very strict. And so Linkletter, thou shalt not kill. And then I forget the others. God is very big. Yeah, that's right. And it was the last one. He came to this little boy, he said, How big is God? So the boy said, well, what is God like? Oh, God is very big, right? How big? How big is God? So the boy didn't know. The biggest thing he could conceive of was the house where he lived. Oh, God is bigger than a house. So that stuck in my mind. Bigger than a house. Because just like the priests are praying, they're just, let's see, at the end of the first prayer they say, the chanting of your auspicious transcendental qualities will wipe out the sins of all mankind. That is the most auspicious activity for us, and we can thus partially understand your supernatural position. Yeah. So they, well, yeah, in previous texts, actually, 4 and 5, Jiro's verse. The chanting, I just said that. Anyway, they weren't secure. They weren't, they knew Krishna was beyond them. So they would, what can we offer you? You know, you're beyond the beyond. Okay. So now in today's text, 6 and 7, the point is made that only offerings made with devotion satisfy the transcendental Lord. Why? Because by definition, nothing is outside the absolute truth. Nothing is outside the Lord. He's within everything. He's outside of everything. Antar, Bahir, Avastitam, Queen Kunti's praying. Antar, you're within, you're without, Bahir, Avastitam. So how can he need or desire anything? Or like even advertisers, what do they say? Or they used to say back in the day. What can you give the man who has everything? He's got everything. What can you give him? But then, of course, they're selling something. Oh, he doesn't have this. But Krishna does have everything. And how can he be pleased by our offerings? So in his purport, into both texts actually, in his purport, well, to text 6, Prabhupada answers by quoting Gita 9:26. Famous. Whenever I, like today, I'll start offering lunch again because it's Wednesday, so now we have a lunch. So I make the offerings from Wednesday to Sunday. Monday we're off, and then Tuesday, there's no lunch offering. It's later, it's evening offering, Indian night. So whenever I make the offering, I say the 4 prayers. I bow down, I say the 4 prayers. And then because I'm not secure in how I've offered the prayers, I'm afraid maybe I just sort of rattle them off ritualistically because we say them. This is how we offer food, right? Then I add Gita 9:26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati taraham bhakti paritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Because that's stressing that it's the love and devotion that Krishna offers. In his purport, Prabhupada answers by quoting Gita 9:26, highlighting the fact that all we need to please Krishna is, in his purport, he says, this is how he starts the purport. Yeah, he says, one does not need great wealth, education, or opulence. In fact, those can be hindrances if we're proud of them, right? Janmaishvaya Shatashri. If one is fully absorbed in love and ecstasy, he need offer only a flower and a little water. But that's a big if, right? Love and ecstasy. Now, in his commentary to this verse, Prabhupada, in Gita commentary, and Prabhupada also looked at Vishwanath and Baladev especially. Prabhupada dedicated his Gita to Baladev Vidyabhushan, who presented so nicely his Govinda Bhashya commentary. on Vedanta Sutra. So Baladev and Vishwanath also, they made their comments on the Gita. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary to Gita 9:26 goes deeply into how simple it is to please Krishna. Very simple. And how available Krishna makes himself even to the humblest person. So Vishwanath says, you can just give Krishna a leaf. And it's specifically saying Tulsi. Not the leaves that blow in the room. Tulsi, or a flower, or a piece of fruit, or a little water. And Vishwanath points out that all those words in the Sanskrit, patram, pushpam, palam, toyam, are all in the singular. Just one. Not that you have to bring a whole basket of fruit, although we do have a basket for offering. But if you're poor, anybody can do this. They're all in the singular. And he doesn't even ask for all of them. He says, or a little water. Patram pushpam palam tanga yome bhaktya prayachahi tadaham bhakti paritam. I don't know where or is in there, but let's see if it's in there. But this is what Vishwanath says. Prabhupada says that in the translation. So I wonder if it's in the Sanskrit. 9:26. Usually you think of va or something like that, or. Let's see. Word for word, the leaf, the flower, fruit, water, whoever unto may, bhaktya, offer that. Except, anyway, both Prabhupada and Vishwanath say they're all in the singular, or you don't have to offer or this or that, right? He doesn't even ask for all of them. So why is that? Because Krishna's actual desire is to taste the bhakti, and that's why it's mentioned twice in the verse. Tadaham bhakti param patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachahi tadaham bhakti paritam. Krishna's, is highlighting it, underlining it. You get it? You get it? This you got to offer with bhakti. He mentions bhakti twice. Interestingly, the demigods, they're pleased by what you offer them. But he's pleased by the devotion, because he's got everything. But the demigods aren't Krishna, and they actually like it when they get stuff. It's like we like it. Right? This is what Vishwanath says. So Vishwanath further explains that a devotee's devotion is not limited to the time of the offering, but permeates his whole life. So in his commentary to that Patram verse, Vishwanath says, I'll get to that in a minute, but first I'm going to do a little inset here. So his whole life. So that made me think of when Prabhupada visited Gita Nagari, where I lived for 10 years plus. He visited Gita Nagari in 1976. He was only there for one night. Well, he got there. It was called the New York Farm then. The New York Farm. The New York Temple. They had gotten their place on 55th Street, the Hare Krishna building, skyscraper, which they never should have sold, but they did. And so Prabhupada, he wanted to go to he'd been receiving letters from Paramananda, the temple president, and he heard it was a nice place. He wanted to go see it. So the Radha Damodar party was in full force, then the Radha Damodar buses and vans, and so Prabhupada, he drove out. It wasn't the bus that Radha Damodar normally was on, but they brought him on this bus. I forget whose bus. Oh, Mahamuni Prabhu from St. Louis. So The Kreshwar Pandit was driving, Mahamuni was in the check seat, and then behind there was this whole temple, because they would convert these Greyhound buses into temples. I lived in Gainesville, Florida for 2 years, and Gainesville, Florida was where they take these Greyhound buses, and in the backyard of our temple, they would retool them and make them into traveling temples. So it was kind of neat. We got to see how a Greyhound bus was transformed into a traveling temple. Because Amarendra, our temple president, he wanted to support the project. So Prabhupada rode out. It's about a 4.5 hour drive from New York to get it out of southeast Pennsylvania. So he got to the farm, midday, and then there's pictures, and maybe you've seen pictures of Prabhupada walking Gita Nagari. Has anybody seen pictures? Yeah. We put it on the cover of Speaking About Varnashram, which is a book that Hari Krishna Dasi wrote and I edited. And on the cover, it's Prabhupada walking shoulder to shoulder with Paramananda Prabhu, who's dressed not in a dhoti, and of course he's dressed in his armor overalls, and his wife is right behind him, and then there's Hari Shari's got the tape recorder, right? And there's Tripurari's there, Tripurari Swami by the. And so anyway, so he's giving Prabhupada a tour of the farm, and then Prabhupada, he was very pleased with how well Paramananda and the crew kept the farm. You could see the care and devotion into how it was a Paka farm, and it's been reinvented over the years. And right now it's Dhruva Maharaj and his wife Parijat, right? Parijat is her name. There, and I just wrote Dhruva yesterday because I'm hoping to go back to Gita Nagari sometime over the summer and then present. I've never presented my founder Acharya lessons there. I've been all over the world with these things. I've never been to my alma mater, one of my alma maters, I'm a Gita Nagari alum. I want to bring it there, So I hope to bring it there this summer sometime. So anyway, Prabhupada, he liked that the equipment was being very well cared for, because the year before in 75, when Prabhupada was in New Taliban in Mississippi, the equipment was out in the open and it was rusting because it wasn't under a protected shed, right? So Prabhupada, and Paramananda knew that, so he wanted to make sure that Prabhupada saw that the farm, the equipment, and the animals were so well, and they are still today. The new herd of brown Swiss cows. Pedigree, Paramananda had gotten pedigree, some going back 200 years. I mean, super cows, brown Swiss cows. And so, in fact, we got an award in 1983, after Prabhupada left, we got an award for having the best herd of brown Swiss cows in the whole state of Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is, at least back in those days, it was the 5th largest dairy state. Of course, Wisconsin, of course, was number 1. So Paramananda, he was touring the farm, and then there's films too of Paramananda going out. He's driving around in an old beat up green car, and then he's getting out sometimes and he's picking produce. This is July, so these things are coming. So he picked up he dug a potato out of the ground and he handed it to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was amazed. It was so big, this huge potato, right? And let's see. And then after the tour, Prabhupada, it made him hungry. So he wanted to take prasad. So then Satyabhama, who's a real good cook, she made him just what Prabhupada liked. She knew what he liked. Paramananda and Satyabhama joined in 1968 at 22nd Avenue. they went to New Vrindavan. They were amongst the pioneers of New Vrindavan. But then when New Vrindavan started to go more into construction and away from, the cows and the land, then they wanted to leave. They wanted to go somewhere where, and then New York, just providentially, New York was right on. They wanted cows and land. They wanted to get cows and land. They wanted to have their own milk products from protected cows. They wanted to have fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, grown, homegrown, to offer to Radha Govinda in New York. So anyway, then Saji Baba cooked Prabhupada lunch, and he really liked, and then he saw the size of her chapatis, rotis, these big rotis, and Prabhupada thought, oh, how could I, that's so big, how am I going to eat that? But he was surprised how even though it was so kind of heavy, inside it was so soft and full with bhakti. He loved it. Yeah. So, yeah. He was surprised at how soft and delicious they were on the inside. And he ate 4 or 5 of them, even though they were so big, because they were so good. So back to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he concludes that this is what Vishwanath is saying. And of course, he's writing this in the 18th century, when there's no, Sprouts or Trader Joe's. Everybody, if you want fruits and vegetables, you got to grow it. You got to grow your own. If you want milk, you got to have a cow, right? So he's talking about a garden. So Vishwanath says, he concludes that the devotee's garden is watered with devotion, to Krishna, and the flowers from the garden are offered with devotion to Krishna. The items are cooked and served and offered with devotion to Krishna. And Krishna accepts that because his devotee's devotion has given him an appetite. This is what actually makes Krishna hungry. Otherwise, as Prabhupada would tell us, Krishna doesn't need your puris, your halava. He's the source of everything. So he doesn't need things. But what makes him happy is hungry is the appetite, or is what gives him an appetite is your bhakti. So, Prabhupada's citation in the purport from from text 6, is from the Hari Bhakti Vilas, is equally sweet and reassuring. Let me look at that again. It's very nice. Prabhupada says in the purport, the Supreme Lord can be pleased only by devotional service. Therefore, it is said that the Lord is surely satisfied by devotion and nothing else. Quoting from the Gautamiya Tantra, Hari Bhakti Vilas states, now this is a little familiar when I read it. Is this part of the puja? It's Tulasi Dalamatrena. Does that mantra ring a bell? Tulasi Dalabatrena Jalasya Chulukena Va Vikrinite Svamatmanam Bhaktebhyo Bhaktavatsalaha. Does that ring a bell? No? Okay. Anyway, it's from the Hari Bhakti Vilas. It's quoting the Gautamiya Tantra. Quote, Sri Krishna, who is very affectionate toward his devotees, sells himself to a devotee who offers merely a tulsi leaf and a palm full of water. So even if you're a poor person, you can't gather a lot of stuff. No, tulsi leaf and a palm full of water. That's what gives Krishna an appetite, is the bhakti. Okay, so I like to, what time is it now? I'd like to ask everybody a question for audience participant. Oh, you have, no, not asking for questions, but, okay, we'll do this before the question. Okay, so maybe, see if you want to answer it, huh? All right, although it's natural for a devotee to think he has no devotion, that's like what I said, Vrindavan offering now. So when I make my offering, I'd say these every day, so maybe kind of mechanical, ritualistic. So then I do Patrang Pushpalam to remind myself it's the bhakti that makes Krishna accept the offering. Although it is natural for a devotee to think he has no devotion, for example, you remember Markine Bhagavan Dharma, preaching Krishna consciousness in America, Prabhupada's poem he wrote in the Jaladuta when he landed. He wrote 2 poems actually, but the second poem was teaching Krishna consciousness in America, which he wrote on the ship after he walked around Boston with Captain Arun Pandya, and then he got back on the ship. So he wrote it either later that day or the next morning as the ship was flying down to New York, where he actually got off for good. But you remember how Prabhupada, the last part of the Bhakti Nai Vedanta Nai, he wrote it in Bengali, and then there's a translation. He says, I have no devotion. if Prabhupada's, and that's how a real devotee is thinking. I have no devotion. Yeah, so here's the question. Can you think of a time when, despite your lack of bhakti, Krishna accepted your service, and then he made the service turn out better than you could have imagined? Somehow he accepted it. So think about that. I mean, I have a couple of things I can say, but I'll, if anybody wants to jump in, we'll take it. But if not, we can take questions. Again, the question is, can you think of a time when, despite your lack of bhakti that you felt, Krishna accepted your seva, and then not only did he accept it, he made the service turn out better than you could have imagined? Okay, Sandrika, we have a taker.
Well, this one was pretty recently. It was during Ram Navami time, and both Nikunja and I were going to do a performance together, Bharatanatyam and fire dance, and but she got very sick at the time.
Right.
But she was kind of sick before, but thought we'd still be able to do it. But then the last minute, like the evening before, she messaged me, said, I'm like too sick. But the way that we choreographed the dance was together, like there were scenes together and everything. So it's like I couldn't do it by myself because it would be like an invisible person there. And plus it was the grand finale, and it was like, oh gosh, So I was like thinking, oh, what am I going to do? Like last minute.
Stage?
Yeah, on the stage.
Okay. Yeah.
No, well, I was thinking about it the night before, and then I just thought I'm going to have to call up and say I can't do it either, But so anyway, but I was thinking, but maybe I can try. I felt like, Krishna was saying, okay. So anyway, so I had some ideas, but I was too tired. So I went to sleep, and I thought, okay, instead of going to Mangalati, I'll practice some of the ideas at home. And so I did, but then there wasn't really that much time to practice and space. And so anyway, then I ended up doing it on Ram Navami, and it was like grand finale, and then was connecting with Chris to try to get the fireworks in there on time. And I thought, okay, I'll use the wings because that could be something. But I thought, how am I going to, people were expecting this fire dance, so it was like, how am I going to pull it off? But anyway, somehow I did it, and then I heard that it came off good. But that was like literally, that was the only practice for that. So that I felt like Krishna was really, or Lord Ram was working through me then.
Carried what you lacked.
Yeah.
And you lacked sleep. You told me.
Yeah, and then I had no sleep
because you were up at Puri or something.
Yeah, well, had this also the dance on my mind. I had to kind of go through it, and then I had to get, So,
wow.
But anyway, yes, I felt like that was not me. That was like Krishna just giving me that empowering.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Bringing in that 926 and 922, Krishna says, but those who offer me with exclusive, those who worship me with exclusive devotion, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So even if our devotion isn't exclusive, we're still kind of haunted by material desires, but still Krishna, He's very merciful. All right, we have another taker. We may never get to Lalita's question. But we'll see.
It's kind of tough to think of one. That was a great one. The one I thought of is we went to the Rath Yatra in Phoenix, and we got a flat tire, but we still made it towards the end, and we had a super time. And then we went to Sprouts, and we're all just laughing and joking and feeling the bliss of the Rath Yatra. And we went into the store, and I brought a Bhagavad Gita. You know this one? And I was checking out my items, the self-checkout, and we were just having so much fun that I decided to put the barcode or whatever it is of the Gita on the like the checkout scan. And so it came.
Buy the Gita you brought.
Yeah, I was just having fun, you know. And then it came up like error, you know. So you know, whatever their code is. So the girl had to come over to the checkout place and help me. And I was like, oh, I just, you know, I'd scan this book, you know, I was just having fun. And then she ended up taking the book.
Wow. Did you give a donation?
No, I don't think so. She's working, you know. I don't think I even asked. But
You donated her interest.
yeah, it was just fun. And I was just being a goofball and a rascal. And then I thought,
Yeah, but
it seemed
Krishna
like,
was working through you.
Yeah.
He'll work through anybody, even if we're goofy.
mhm.
Okay. Yeah. All right, any other takers for that? Yes, we have Divya.
Back when we were like collecting Lakshmi, and I was always just so afraid, you know, it always rang through my head what my dad would say, everybody's asking, everybody's got their hand out, you know. Anyway, so I'd always pray really hard to Lord Chaitanya, and just in my panic, and somehow I would just get like some funny line, you know, and I would say it because we'd have these buttons, you know. I go, they're real gold, you know. But anyway, everybody
Yeah,
thought it was.
What did the button say?
I can't even remember. I don't know. We had like all kinds of like stuff.
Funny buttons?
Yeah. Well, buttons and hats and different stuff. But anyway, coming from total panic, I can't do this. I was like a huge success. Everybody thought I was funny and cute, and you know, the 20s were coming, 20, and I did like, I think 1,200 for that event. It was like a big one at the Coliseum in LA.
1,200 what?
Lakshmi points.
Oh, $1,200.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then Rameshwar gave me a book that was like gold, you know, on the outside. You know, the pages were like gold.
Oh, he gave you the gold leaf Bhagavatam?
Yeah. I think it was the Ishapanishad.
Oh, okay. So they used to offer those to meeting
Yeah.
devotees.
Yeah. And I remember the year before I did like 1,000, and then this year I had 1,200. And
Mhm.
so I was kind of like a little fame, you know. But I was just thankful that I was able to
Yeah.
actually have fun. And people were like really in the mood of giving. And it was just very successful, you know. So
Wow.
it was just Lakshmi. But I did do books at the DMV for years. I do 100 a day, $100,
Wow.
100 books, you know. But anyway, yeah, it's just coming from nothing, fear, you know, that
But you did it.
Krishna did it. It was totally Krishna, you know.
Yeah, you
And then
did.
it was like so hard running around chasing after people at the DMV, but it was like on Venice Boulevard. So then I donned roller skates, and yeah. So I did that for like a couple years until other girls were doing it, and they said that's too dangerous, you know. But yeah, it made it fun, and I was doing service, and yeah.
Skate kirtan, huh?
Yeah.
Holy smoke. I think devotees used to do that on skateboards.
I haven't seen skateboards.
No roller skates.
Roller
Yeah,
skates.
yeah. We did the roller skates. Yeah.
It was really treacherous when the parking lot was like,
Oh, right.
down, we would like.
Oh.
I have a funny story from, we were working the Albuquerque Fair, and working fairs are pretty tough because you're there for 3 weeks, and the kind of people that are at fairs generally aren't very intelligent.
It wasn't a balloon fest?
No, we did that too. That was better.
Okay.
So this was the fair. And so the first day, we got hassled, and I thought, oh man, this is going to be a long 3 weeks. And so then they brought in their security team for the whole fair to keep, and it turned out it was the Khalsa security. They were Sikhs. And so they liked us. And so they were protecting us, and they were, anytime we had any hassle, we'd go to them and they would take care of it. And so I thought that was really just Krishna's mercy that, we were just trying, and we thought, oh man, this is going to be so difficult. And then Krishna came through and made it really nice.
Good. And now I think we have time for Alicia's question.
Okay, my question is just really basic about the purport. It says, talking about if one is offered varied foods but has no appetite, the offering has no value. And I'm assuming that the appetite is the appetite to please Krishna, right? Because like if I'm sick, I'm not going to not do my deity worship.
Where is
because I'm
that? Is it
hungry.
6-7?
It's the first sentence in the purport.
Okay, so let's see. First paragraph?
The very first sentence.
First sentence, okay. One does not need great wealth, education, or
No,
opulence.
in the purport to the second verse that you read.
Second verse, okay. Srila Rupa Goswami says that if one is offered varied foods but has no appetite, the offering has no value. Yeah. If I've just eaten and somebody offers me my favorite, spinacal pita.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're talking about your own personal appetite, that doesn't really make sense because I'm
It's an
assuming
analogy,
it's the appetite to please Krishna, right? Because if I'm sick, then and I don't feel like eating, I'm still going to worship my deities, right?
No, but the analogy is that if I offer things to Krishna, but there's no bhakti there, and he's got no appetite because what makes him hungry is the bhakti.
Right.
That's
Okay.
That's what just.
I think it's 2 different things.
I think it's what I'm saying. The appetite to please Krishna, that is bhakti.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
That's not what the analogy is saying. That's not what the analogy is saying. The analogy is saying that if I offer you something and you don't have any appetite, you're not going to eat it. So in the same way, Krishna has no appetite for something if you offer it without bhakti. So
Yeah,
saying,
but she's saying your desire to please him is the bhakti. That's good.
well, that's true, but I'm saying that's not what the statement is saying. The statement is saying if one is offered varied foodstuffs but has no appetite, the offering has no value. Speaking that anybody, if I offer anything, even a dog, has no value unless because they don't want it. But so in the same way, Krishna is not valuing that without devotion.
Okay. So that means, my God, that means everybody's eating Govindas because I'm offering with no bhakti. No, it means, please accept this, my Lord. Because that's why I say the prayer after I say the prayer. That's why I say the verse. Because I'm trying to remember that, and that's the bhakti. That at least I'm remembering this verse. That this is what makes the food acceptable to you for the bhakti.
Give me the bhakti.
Yes, that's true. Yes, that's right.
bhakti is the cooks.
That's true. It's not just the offer; it's a whole holistic thing. And it starts in the garden. Vishwanath said, you pick it,
Right.
and you cook it, you offer it, you serve it. And I just told Sandamani we need a new guest quote of the month because we're using the same one. So, and one of the things that the people say is that they like not only the food, but they like the cheerfulness of the people at the register, like
They
Lita
must not be talking about me then.
and Shanta, and they like the way the fill-in people are cheerful. The whole atmosphere is like they like the whole thing. They like everything is, And the music, take the Diro makes, the whole, everything makes them have a nice experience. That's all part of the bhakti. Yes, Nadi Bihari Prabhu.
See if I can say this offhand somewhat. I was listening to a class yesterday, and I forget what word they're using, but they're talking about something like at some point the bhakti becomes attracted to you, or the divine becomes attracted to you, or maybe like we come to see the deity, but then the deity also wants to see us.
Yeah,
and I was thinking,
Prabhupada says darshan means. Doesn't just mean I see the deity sees us.
yeah, and in that way, I was thinking of like asking Krishna to give us bhakti for him, to him. That's what your prayer with offering reminds me of. It's like we have to ask him to literally like help us with everything, even our love to him.
Yeah, well, that's where that can't be. That's the only thing we have. That's our free will. We're free to love Krishna or not. And because I don't love Krishna, therefore I'm in the material world. Yeah. So, but now that we've, at least by Prabhupada's mercy, we've realized that's why we're here, suffering. And we're doing good time, not hard time. We're doing good time of trying to practice. Sadhana bhakti means those practices which invoke what's already there. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kamunai. Pure love for Krishna is eternally situated in the heart of a living entity. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Kare Udoy. When one, what is it? When one, where does that go? Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte. When one hears and chants about Krishna, pure love for Krishna naturally awakens. Yeah, it's there. Yeah, it's just buried in eons of turning away from Krishna. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare